Good morning, Bishop. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
How was your weekend?
It was good.
What weekend? Today's Thursday,
You
right?
wanted to be Monday so bad.
Yeah, I want to be Monday so bad. But anyway, well that's good. And I've got in the studio too. My grandson is in the studio with me this morning. My oldest grandson, Alexander Smith, the youngest one in the studio. My oldest grandson, Alexander Smith, number two. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning.
You gonna be on with us this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. See, he's gonna say something, and I've got another special guest in the studio. I'm going to let you know who he is in just a minute. But before we go there, I want to thank our sponsors this morning. I want to thank WEHA 100.3 and 88.7 FM for sponsoring the program. Beacon Hall also. Thank Beacon Hall for being a sponsor of the program on today. Freedom City Bike Club, also a sponsor. I'm going to give you more information about how you can reach all of these sponsors momentarily. Blessed Home Cooking, Yvonne's Blessed Home Cooking also. Thank Yvonne for sponsoring. And the Bake Geek, also a sponsor. And Moody Twin 2 is a sponsor for today's program, along with the Abundant Life Worship Center Church of Egg Harbor City. And so we're thankful for this opportunity to be here. Listen, I want to get right into something on this morning. I've got in the studio with me a brother who I'm happy to have with us today. His name is Henry Hank Green. Good morning, Brother Green.
Good morning, Bishop.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine.
Yeah. So Brother Green is with us on this morning. And those of you who don't know him, I'm going to give him an opportunity to introduce himself. His first time on the air with me today. I don't know that this is his inaugural um, uh, appearance on WEHA. Have you been on before?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
I've been
good.
on Coach Mike's show before.
Very good. So we're happy to have you with us on today. I'm going to give you an opportunity, sir, to introduce yourself to our listening audience.
Oh, well, thank you, Bishop. As many folks may know, my name is Henry Green. Many people call me Hank, short for Henry. And I'm native from Atlantic City. I've been roaming around in the political and activism role for the last several years. I've been an employee of the city, been a substitute teacher in the city, been trying to find my niche and my way to help, provide some stabilization in our community. I think that which has been rocked over the last 20 years. And after going out and seeing the world a little bit and, realizing some things, I realized how much I really missed Atlantic City once I was away from here and how different we were from a lot of places. But at the same time, I thought that a lot of the places that I've been, that we were collectively, that they were collectively more focused on the greater good of elevating our community as a whole, as well as trying to achieve their individual goals. And I wanted to see more of that for us here in this particular area in South Jersey.
Excellent. Well, we're going to talk about Atlantic City today. Brother Green is he's going to be the man who helps us to get better insight and keep our thumb on the things that are going on in Atlantic City. I've asked Brother Green to come in and to play that role for us on occasion, maybe monthly or whatever, just kind of give us some insight as to what's happening in Atlantic City from his perspective. And I just giving him the opportunity to whatever it is he'd like to focus in on to do that. And I'll also ask some questions about things that I have a question about or some concerns about. But Brother Green is on the ground in Atlantic City, and we're happy to do that because we're going to add that particular segment going forward. So, Brother Green, what's happening today, man? I know that. Well, I'm gonna let you say what you want to say, whatever's on your heart, and I have a question I'm going to ask you about something in particular.
Okay.
What's happening today, man, in Atlantic City?
Well, today, what I've been hearing a lot about it have been the tax issues. That's been the big thing that's been going on lately. And since I haven't been on the radio airwaves again. I used to be a host, executive producer of the Kevin Hall Show program, and we haven't been in the air over the last 6 months. And over the last 6 months, there's been a lot of different things going on, and so I haven't been really involved in the way that I had been. At least expressing myself and things like that. But this one particular issue about the taxes goes all the way back to the original topic that when I came into radio and different things like that we were talking about was the takeover of Atlantic City. And just reading the different articles and the fighting back and forth with Democrats and the executive Denny Levinson and things like that has been real intriguing. For the mere fact, in the beginning, with the takeover, when the state took over the city, and over the last year or so, the last 2 years, they've been talking how great that the takeover has been working, and it's great and it's fine, and all these great things are happening. And so now that we find out that there's a problem with the county taxes and the school board taxes, even though the city taxes have remained flat, the taxes still have went up on the residents, and there's a problem with that because the pilot program, the pay in lieu program, the taxes remain the same, and it didn't go up on the casinos and the industry, and they made profits this year. And so it's kind of funny that the casinos have a set plan for themselves where their taxes remain the same, and they were allowed to make profits, and then the residents themselves, they had to pick up the additional taxes that the casinos are not actually paying. And we thought in the beginning that the takeover was supposed to fix the tax problem. So how are we having tax problems now if everything was supposed to be fixed, everything's fine and dandy? We're finding out that now everything was never fixed, apparently. That was a smoke screen, apparently, because we're still having these particular problems, and they need to put together another task force to fix the problem that they say they already fixed and their reasoning for taking over the city in the first place.
So they do have a task force in place. And what do you think about the persons that were selected to so it's let me say, it's Denny Levinson, who is the county executive in Atlantic County. It's Mayor Frank Gilliam. It's Council President Marty Small. It's Ernest Coursey, who was freeholder Ernest Coursey. And I think there's one more.
There was someone else.
Yeah. So, and I'll get the other thing of the other person in a minute. But what do you think of and Sheila Oliver? By the way, the lieutenant governor is the one who has assembled this task force to address this issue, which I think is an important issue. And I think that Sheila Oliver, of course, has done a great job since she's been in Atlantic City. But there are persons who have some concerns about this particular selection of individuals, and particularly, one of the concerns was made by the Democrat county club president, Mr. Suleiman. His concern is that initially it was announced that Denny Levinson would be the chairman of this particular committee, which his issue was that because Denny Levinson is up for re-election and he's a Republican, that he thought it was just unfair and perhaps an unfair position or advantage or whatever. Michelle Oliver subsequently said that was an error. That was a mistake to make that announcement. Denny Levinson is a member of the committee, but not necessarily the chair. From your perspective and people in Atlantic City, what do you think of the task force? What should we expect?
Well, I think that what they did was all politics in the beginning, because I think that Ms. Oliver made the decision to try to put Mr. Levinson ahead of that task force for a particular reason, and that reason is he's good at what he does. In the first place, okay. They're one of the most fiscally responsible counties, probably in the state, and so with that in mind, it was a bipartisan decision because Sheila Oliver is a Democrat. You know what I mean? I feel like they did this because he probably was the best person with the right mindset in order to try to achieve and get the goal and do and be from this area and do what's best for Atlantic City, versus because we complain a lot about the outside individuals coming in and not knowing the area and not understanding what's going on, and they're trying to figure out what's best for Atlantic City. Mm-hmm. Here we have an individual who's knowledgeable about the topics and fiscally responsible and doing a great job on their end with the county, and I thought it was a great choice.
A great choice for Mr. Levinson to chair.
Okay. To chair. Not saying that that the other individuals shouldn't be involved in some capacity, in some type of capacity, but you need those professional individuals, those accountants, different things like that, to be a part of really finding the solution. A solution that we've paid millions of dollars and people from the outside already to come in and lawyers and different things like that from the state during the Christie era to actually solve these particular problems already. And now here we are still in that same situation. And all these people were from outside and they were all delegated by the Democratic Party. They were leading, spearheading these initiatives in this pilot plan. And this pilot plan was prepared by lobbyists for the casino industry. It wasn't meant to benefit the city of Atlantic City. And a lot of the individuals that Mr. Levinson's talking about that it was on the task force probably didn't object, to what the state was trying to do. And so we have the same people who didn't necessarily object or have ideas or plan before the takeover, and now you want them to lead this group in finding a solution that's supposed to have been already solved or they supposed to have been a part of in some way already, and I don't know what their role would necessarily be in solving the problem at this point. Or will they just be in the business to be a part of it to represent Atlantic City to understand and know what's going on, or will they be tasked with actually solving the problem? And if that's it, then that's a problem.
So that's the problem. Okay, so let me. So I have the list of persons who are on this committee. The other person that we had missed was so the task force will hold. Let me see. The members of the task force: Democrat Mayor Frank Gilliam, and City Council President Marty Small, Republican County Executive Denny Levinson, School Superintendent Barry Caldwell, and he'll be on that committee as well as along with freeholder Ernest Corsi. And you said that those persons you said it's a problem. Why? Are you suggesting that the task force persons selected what do they not have?
Well, they've been involved already throughout the whole process. And so if they had solutions already, then we probably would have reached some of those particular solutions and we wouldn't probably be in this particular position already. I think that we need to have professional peoples like Mr. Levinson said to sit down. And not that they're not supposed to be in the room. They're part of the city. They represent the city. They're supposed to understand what's going on and know the steps and moves and be able to have some input on what's happening. I'm just saying we still need professional people to try to come up with an understanding how to best solve this particular problem. And my personal opinion believe that the problem is probably solvable, but so many people benefit by keeping us in debt. And us not solving the problem keeps the state in control of the city for the most part. And a lot of other outside people being able to benefit from revenues that are streaming from Atlantic City that are going outside of the city to a lot of people that are political bosses and things and other places and things like that.
So it sounds like you're saying there's not a genuine attempt to solve the problem, that this is a smokescreen?
Right. It's pretty much. Some people would rather keep it like it is and that the problem not be solved, that some of the issues that need to be brought up that haven't been brought up by the people maybe they did, maybe some of these individuals have brought up their positions and they've been given an answer that, that they're satisfied with.
I guess the question then, I guess, is what is identify the problem. We know that ultimately the problem is tax. Taxes have went up when they were not expected to do so. That's the problem.
Right.
But then identify what is the real cause, and then also be clear about what the solution looks like. Because you may say that you think it's a smokescreen, whatever their answer may be, it may be that their answer doesn't look like the answer that you or others might expect it to, the way you expect it to look. It may be a different outcome intended altogether. So until there's clarity in identifying and defining what solving the problem really looks like, then you have this issue. So this task force needs to, I guess, some point will come out with saying what exactly their intentions are.
Right. Well, I agree. Maybe the first task force meeting is to put together those people that are needed to help solve the problem, and they're coming up with the plan on how to bring in the accountants and the tax people and assessors and the different folks that are needed to solve the problem, and that would be their role, and I would see that'd be perfect. That's what they're supposed to do, and I don't see why they wouldn't be able to come up and do those particular things. They wouldn't necessarily just need Mr. Leviston to do that if that's their plan, if they were approaching it in that manner.
Right. Well, you're listening to Bishop John Gandy Live. My guest this morning is Henry Hank Green of Atlantic City, and he is our man on the ground, boots on the ground in Atlantic City. He has insight as to things that are going on in Atlantic City, and I love to have his perspective. Yes, sir.
Well, now I wanted to finish with.
Well, I was going to come back. We'll take a quick break. We're going to come back. Okay. Let you finish. All right. We'll take a quick break right here. We're going to come back with my guest Henry Hank Green, and we're talking about Atlantic City. And today we're talking about Atlantic City, and in particular the task force that's been appointed by the Lieutenant Governor, and their attempts to deal with and address the issues of Atlantic City's tax issues, from the school board and so forth. And Hank has got some thoughts about it, of course. If you know Henry Hank Green, you know he's got some thoughts about it. All right, hang on there. We'll be right back in about 2 minutes.
Hawks, a name that has been trusted for almost 30 years in the janitorial services industry, is proud to present Hawks Professional Moving Services. Fully insured, local and long distance, packing services, commercial and residential, no job too small or too large, friendly and reliable services. For more information or a free estimate, 609-484-0452. Hawks Professional Moving Services, where we treat your belongings like our own.
Get ready for the most anticipated gospel event of the year. The 20th anniversary of the Soul Food Gospel Fest. Saturday, September 7th, 6:30 p.m. at the Winson Center, 353 South New Road, Pleasantville, New Jersey. Featuring the New Mount Calvary Male Chorus, the Daryl Robinson Trio, Franklin Bubby Van, and Praise Beyond. Special guest, stellar award-winning artist and radio host, Lonnie Hutter and Structure.
Every worshiper in the house, come on, stand to your feet. Let's do this one together.
And South Jersey's favorite gospel duo, Duncan and Rochelle. Enjoy a slammin' soul food buffet, door prizes and giveaway. Tickets just $30 adults, $18 children 13 and under, $25 group rates. Tickets can be purchased at the WEHA radio station, New Mount Calvary Baptist Church. Online at newmountcalvarybaptist.com or call 609-909-8729. It's the 20th anniversary of the Soul Food Gospel Fest. Saturday, September 7th, 6:30 p.m. Come feed your body and your soul.
Hello, this is Bobby Jones, and I'm coming to Atlantic City on September the 14th for the WEHA Gospel 88.7 and 100.3 FM 10th Anniversary Benefit Banquet. You don't want to miss this event. I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
Priscilla Hawks presents Confessions of Being Fabulous Road Trip, celebrating Black Girl Magic. You heard it, girls. We're going on a road trip, so get ready. When is it? Friday, August the 30th. Road tripping to the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. The bus departs at 6 a.m. from the Walmart Supercenter at 6801 East Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, 08234. Returning late in the evening. I'ma say it again. Returning late in the evenings. Tickets, $65. Again, tickets, $65. No girlfriend discounts. Limited seating is available. To book, to RSVP, call or text Priscilla at 917-261-0039. Again, to RSVP, call or text Priscilla at 917-261-0039. I love you, and yes, this is a girls trip, but again, to RSVP, call or text 917-261-0039.
And welcome back to Bishop John Gandy Live. And we are here every Thursday morning between the hours of 8 and 9 a.m. And we want to thank our sponsors on this morning. I want to thank, first, we want to thank Gospel 88.7 and 100, Gospel 88.7 and 100.3 FM WEHA. for sponsoring the program. Also, Beacon Hall. Beacon Hall is you want to reach Beacon Hall. The website is www.wehavegospel.com. And you can call Beacon Hall at 609-641-8870. Also, we want to thank our sponsor, Freedom City Bike Club. Freedom City Bike Club is located at 29 West Delilah Road in Pleasantville. If you want to reach Freedom City, the phone number is 609-705-2591. And Freedom City has everything you need as it relates to bicycles or cycling. They go there and show them some real love. Also, Moody Twin 2. What are you saying, Steve? I don't know what you're saying. Moody Twin 2, customized items, T-shirts, and more. You can reach them at 609-442-1981 for all things printed and whatever. Just call them. They'll let you know all the things that they have. They got some great stuff, by the way. And then also we want to thank Bake Geek. Bake Geek is a taste of love. You can call Janae Williams at 856-783-1795. You can also reach her at IG Bake_Geek or at Facebook Bake_Geek, or you can email her at bakegeek@comcast.net. And we want to thank her. And lastly, we want to thank Yvonne's Blessed Home Cooking. You can reach Yvonne at 973-908-3169 or on Facebook at Yvonne's Blessed Cooking 1 and IG at Yvonne's Blessed Cooking, and email Yvonne at Yvonne's Blessed Cooking at yahoo.com. So we want to thank all of our sponsors, along with, of course, of the Abundant Life Worship Center Church, located at 32 Bishop John R. Gandy Avenue in Egg Harbor City, where yours truly is the pastor. All right, I want to thank Abundant Life for always sponsoring and supporting what we do in ministry. All right, so we have in the studio with us on today, again, Mr. Henry Hank Green, and he is our connection in the city of Atlantic City, talking about some things that are going on in Atlantic City. And before we go to Hank Green, my grandson is here, Alexander Smith, number 2. Alex, what do you want to say, Alex?
Good morning, everyone.
And you're getting ready to start school, aren't you? You excited about it? Is the mic not working? You're on the wrong mic. Get a mic, Alex. Let's see. All right.
What school is he at?
Yeah. So we get him on a microphone here. All right. So we're getting Alex hooked up. This is he's not a real laid back kind of kid. But when he gets going, boy, oh boy. My grandson, Alexander. Alex, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so Alex, how old are you? Let folks know how old you are, and
I'm 14 years old.
and you're getting ready to go to high school this year. High school? What school are you going to?
ACI 2.
And you excited about it?
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, and I'm gonna have to get you to talk about what you want to be and all that kind of thing, and another time get you on as a special guest. You could talk about all of that. But Alex is he's a fine young guy, and I'm excited. My first grandson, and I'm so proud of him. He's an excellent kid, just an excellent kid. There's great parents, and I'm excited about my grandson. All right, Alex. I didn't have you. I didn't have you on camera, but we'll have to get you on camera. I don't have the control of the cameras. So anyway, but also Steve Forte has joined us, and we're talking this morning, Steve, about the city of Atlantic City. And I know that you always have something to say about Atlantic City because you love Atlantic City. And you said something about your car, however, driving on the potholes.
Yeah, let me borrow that mic, Alex, because I got something to say. So I deal with a lot of kids in the village because, of course, that's where the need is. And the New York Avenue, where most of the people that live in the village have to drive down that road, has potholes for days. Yeah, and it doesn't matter how new your car is, how old your car. I mean, it'd be different if the city had like I guess a mechanic that was feeding them money for fixing people's cars or something, that would be a good reason not to fix the potholes. But I see no reason that money's being poured into the city to fix all the rest of the streets and put up lights and put up screens on the boardwalk for all these people that come in that don't give tax money, but the people that are giving the tax money that have to take the tax burden, like they're the ones that have to constantly go to work down there at the casinos or wherever they work at, and their cars are being destroyed by lack of leadership.
That's
Shots fired, yes sir.
Yeah.
And it's worse right there on New York Avenue, right by the school.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right where the school is,
Right.
is where it's the worst at.
I can
there.
attest. Yeah.
So-
New York Avenue is horrible.
So even coming in on Kentucky Avenue, when you coming into the city off the White Horse Pike, off the Absecon Boulevard on Kentucky Avenue, that little entrance coming in has been for years. It's been, they fill the hole and it comes right back out, and it's just like you're ready to tear your rims up on your car.
Wow. All right. So, thank you, Steve.
I mean, that's just one thing going on in the city.
Well, you know what? Again, unless the community, like I was saying, unless the community speaks up and comes in numbers and says something about some of these things, nothing will be done, especially in that particular area where our voices are very low and we are kind of used to not having things done, so we don't know how to go about getting things done. I think that's the most problem that we're having, is the knowledge of understanding how to approach dealing with situations like that, and then having the support behind you to support you. A lot of times you go in there by yourself, and that they act like you're not even there. But when you come in there with a collective group and a plan, action plan, you can get some action and usually get something done. Someone pay more attention to you.
I think we've had Bishop has had I don't remember the name, so I can't name drop. But he's had officials in here who have said that sometimes it can be easy to just tell people what they want to hear and send them on their way because they don't come together. You know what I mean? You can have 5 different groups with the same who have the same agenda, but because they didn't come together, I can tell you, yeah, we'll take care of that. Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Well, since you said that, Chris, let me just get right down to
that's
it.
right.
Brother Green. This is the real. Now, this is a conversation that really should be had. 2 things. First of all, one thing that I'm not going to talk about it today, but I do want to talk about at some point the Black community and Latino community alliance. Is there one? And so we'll talk about that sometime. I want to explore that.
Oh yeah, that's a great topic right there.
And also the fact that I think what Kristen just said is very, very key. Even in the city. Now we understand the reasons why. The reasons why are because of political backings and agendas and so forth. But I think people in the city, any city, not just Atlantic City, any city, every city, should be concerned about how things are getting done, why things are not getting done, and the fact that there's so much division, so much divisiveness in every city, every town, every community, and that divisiveness is intentional and strategic. I don't know how you ever really overcome that, because people don't know, some don't care, some don't have the time, it's just overwhelming, it just wears you out, and people leave it into the hands of elected officials to look out for their best interest, and that doesn't always happen to be. Your best interest may not be how they interpret your best interest to be. And I'm not saying that they're necessarily wrong or that they are bad or whatever, but I think that until you get clarity, as someone mentioned earlier, until you get clarity and you come in as a community united with a voice, and you can clearly articulate and state your true interests, your true desires, and understand the system is to be sophisticated enough to understand the system, how to navigate certain things, and all of that. Build a coalition, build a community. That's what's lacking, and it doesn't always mean that people are bad. Some people are bad, no question about it. But I'm not here to accuse people of being bad. I'm here to talk about a system that is so complex, and is designed to operate that way until people are never getting what they think, and never getting oftentimes what they need. And that's something, Hank.
I think that the bad part about that is the people that now, because the culture is like that, they think that that's how they have to approach the situation. They continue to dummy down our community and take advantage of them, versus educating them on why they should be voting for them and what we can do. When you're in a situation in the city where you don't have to explain an agenda or give an agenda to your community of why, what you can do, what your plans are, how do you see us growing in the future, and I still can get elected without explaining any of those particular things, and that being important, down to the grassroots of what my goals and plans and how I envision, the economics, the social economics, all the other things that play the part of elevating the community to a self-sufficiency, where our people are not dependent on a lot of these social programs, and they're actually earning incomes and buying homes and doing different things like that. Until we can see that vision and see us as a collective community that being that way, a lot of our politicians see the easy way out. Oh, well, they're not paying attention right now. All I have to do is they know me, or do these particular things that are not beneficial or elevating to get the vote, without trying to educate your constituents on how powerful we can be and what we can do collectively, because you really can't get anything done individually. I'm never going to get anything done as long as I'm walking by myself and walking around. And I know that, walking around the path that I know. I know that I have to get with like-minded people who believe in the same goals, and we have to come together to.
Let me ask you this question. What is your goal?
Well, my particular goal, it's up and down sometimes. I wanted to be in a place to see us elevate our community, and I would like to be in a helping role in that, and seeing us take advantage of the beauty of Atlantic City, the beaches, the economics, and all these different things like that. And I guess once I've got outside of Atlantic City, I've got to see black communities thriving as a whole, and not being considered and looking at themselves as second-class citizens, and looking at them as the people and the leaders.
So you come back, you get out, and you see some examples of cities that are doing well, communities that are a little bit more healthy, perhaps more vibrant. What are the things
with less
resources, potential resources? Because although they may not truly have less, because although this city has got billions of dollars on that boardwalk, and then throughout the city, the money's flowing in there, the people of the city don't necessarily benefit from it, have access to it, or have any ownership to it.
Well, and I think that's the issue and the problem that we have collectively. Someone has to open those doors so those resources flow back into our community.
So how does that happen? So how does that happen? Because we know that persons who are elected officials, who perhaps are a part of the system per se, they for the most part are not the ones to make. They're not going to be the change agents.
Well,
in that sense.
There's rules and laws already embedded in the system on contracts, for minorities in the city, if you live in Atlantic City. So a certain amount of those contracts is meant to come back to minorities. So those minorities that get those contracts hire minorities, and they're hired them at prevailing wages. That means the wage is $32.50 an hour and different things like that. That's how we get the wealth back in our communities. Get those contracts back to people in our community. We should have a database of black businesses in our community in the first place, and making sure that they're bonded and that they have everything that those contracts say that they need in order so they can take advantage of those contracts. We're supposed to be looking for people in our community to take advantage of those monies so they can get those money and redistribute those jobs and monies back into our community.
There used to be a department in the city that kind of helped with that sort of thing. Well, I forgot what it was called, minority business, whatever it was, right? And you mentioned that. I haven't heard that particular agency or department mentioned in a long time. I don't know. Maybe it's still there. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. But those. So when you went out and you looked at these other cities, what were those? And I think here's what we need to do. What were the components that made those cities be able to thrive with seemingly having less?
Well, I think they had more tangible jobs with upward mobility.
Got you.
So there was upward mobility. I think that the jobs, even jobs that we pay here, that is less paying than North Jersey and less paying than other parts of the state in the same job. So you can be a city worker for Atlantic City and get paid $20,000, $300,000 a year, and be a public works worker, and be in Newark or be in Trenton or be in New Brunswick and be making $33,000.
No question. No
You
question.
know what I mean? So how does that happen? And me being in the system, I seen how it happened.
Well, you're right, and that's an issue with Atlantic County, South Jersey, is that we don't have the kind of industry and the kind of opportunities for upward mobility that you see up in North Jersey. Just isn't here. Different kind of economy. We're a resort community, so we don't have that kind of economy. And I don't know how that is chiseled out. Where do you get that from in this area?
When you look at the amount of money that's distracted from Atlantic City, and I would say, look how much money is distracted from the city from Newark or from Camden or from New Brunswick. How much money do they tax-wise take out of that city to redistribute it back to the state? And you see for 13 blocks, we only 13 blocks long.
But here's the question, Hank, and let's talk about this a little bit, because although people live in Atlantic City, they do not necessarily own the casinos. They don't own, in many cases, the houses they live in. So there's no real true ownership. I think that what happens, we often talk about in not just Atlantic City, but every particularly urban city, we talk about the fact that this is our city. The truth is, the question has to be asked, is it our city? What does that mean? What do you mean it's our city? Because if you're talking about who owns the houses you live in, it's not our city.
Right.
Who has the jobs, it's not our city. So there's some other ways of looking at what the reality is.
Well, I think that's a problem. It could be our city. You're right. At this moment, it's not our city.
Right. So the question is, how does it become our city?
That unity you talked about earlier, when our council, mayor, school board president, and everyone's on the same page about how we're going about with an agenda, how we're going to elevate our community collectively and use our power and our influence through the laws that are already in place. We're not going to do anything different. We're just going to use the laws that's in place and use that vehicle with our power that we have.
Okay.
Sort of like what Craig Calloway did. He's a genius.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a genius. He really is a genius. He found the law. The law said this, because being from the street, we understand.
He's a hard worker. I don't even have to be. You don't even have to be an ingenious. You have to just not be lazy.
And you have to understand the law and have an understanding of what you're trying to do.
And have the courage.
And so he took the law and utilized the law for what it said and how it's written in the books, and utilized it to make kings.
So let's say you have what you say. The first thing you need is unity. Let's walk this through. Now we have unity. What's the next step?
The plan.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The plan and the vision of what we see and how we see us to grow and how we want us to grow, how we want our schools to be, how we want our kids educated, how we want culture or whatever it is we want in within our community, the way we want to develop and things like that.
So how far away are we from those necessary realities?
I don't think that because we're a small place. That could be 10 years. That could be 10 years.
Which part? The plan or the unity?
The unity and the plan. In 10 years, it can be done. In 10 years, we could change the whole culture in Atlantic City.
You guys can jump in, by the way, Kristen or Steve.
And yeah, in 10 years, we can change the whole culture of Atlantic City from thinking about this is a gang city, as negative within just the way that our children think about themselves and how they look at themselves and the outlook that they have. And just by right now what the state has done in opening up the doors for the resources that are available right now. Before, these resources weren't available. That's available right now. We just don't know. The community just don't know that's available.
Okay, so the community does not know it's available. That's a problem, right?
Right.
So there has to be with that unity, that connection, that voice.
Communication. Which you and I are doing. We don't have a newspaper. We don't have television. We got very few radio stations and way to communicate and get information into the community to let them know what's available, what's happening, things like that.
We have an election coming up. I'm going to let you jump in, Steve. We have an election coming up, and this is important. The reason why I reached out to you too, Hank, is because we have an election coming up, and I think that those are the times when you have to have certain conversations. And I'm not necessarily I'm not necessarily involved politically or in
Right.
any way partisan, but I think that information is very, very important, and we need to do that. And we need to also begin to hold people who are running for office, people who are in office, and those running for office. We need to really be able to pull on them and say, hey, let's talk about some things. If you don't know, then maybe you shouldn't be there.
Right.
If you don't have any information, perhaps you're the wrong person.
Right.
So that kind of thing. Go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say what resources are you speaking of that are in the city that are there now that weren't there before that we don't see?
The resources were there. There were some resources there before that we didn't know about. But when the state came in and they realized and they started doing these actual audits and on how poor the city really is and how the lack of support of community programs, after school programs, social programs, mental health programs, and so there's a lot of different things that are pouring in that from outside now. Even though there were people already here trying to do some of these things, now the doors open because everybody else know that the state has its wallet open for these types of projects, and many people are coming in trying to provide different projects and different job trainings and different things like that now in the city right now. But a lot of the people don't necessarily know it, and maybe some of their tactics that they're using haven't been working to pull people in like they should have been.
I think there's a lack of creativity. I think I get job training programs, all that's good. What's the next level of? I mean, where are the jobs, first of all?
Right.
Where do you control
You
any,
hit it on the head.
any jobs? Because you have job training programs, that's almost an industry in itself.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who get into the job training industry to get that's because that's where the revenue is.
And so that's all
Well,
that's
that's what the
going
state
on right
funds.
now.
Yeah.
That's all that's going on
and it
right
leads
now.
to nowhere. I mean, I don't see any real evidence that that people's lives are changing as a result of it. Now, I'm not, and I don't want to discount it. It's very important stuff because there are people who need to be trained to get a job. Period. Step one, right? First base. But where are the plans or the actions or the intentions to create to have entrepreneurs in the
Right.
city?
Right.
People who can hire folk, people with opportunities for higher job training or job opportunities, because people kind of max out at a job.
Right.
And if you want to advance and go higher and improve your standard of living, you got to almost move away because
Right.
it just isn't
Right.
there. Go ahead,
Right.
Steve.
No, I was gonna say
those particular job markets, but we have to look around our area because I didn't realize that certain jobs paid certain monies until I was somewhere else. And I was like, you get paid to do that? I said, I had one of those right around the corner from me. And I didn't even know that they got paid like that. And so there's a lack of education on us on what jobs does what. There's certain jobs in the city of Atlantic City that we going for all the laborer jobs, but yet here are these particular jobs over here that are paying this type of money and giving you this takes this long for longevity, lifeguards and stuff like that we could be preparing our kids for in
Pensions and all this.
pensions and stuff in high school. They could be doing this in college, and
Yeah.
by the time now other folks been doing this for forever.
So you said a plan, right? So I mean, we gotta. I hate to have these uncomfortable conversations, right? But the truth is, without the unity is an issue. Certainly, having a plan is an issue. Having a vision is an issue, and I think that that's what you should be looking for in leaders. Leaders have to be persons who have vision, who are visionaries, not just running because they're. And here's what we tend to do. Not just I think Americans do. Period. Across the board, we elect people because of we know them. Name popularity, whatever. We need to really begin to think about what needs to be done because we are in some very, very serious times.
And how we're able to communicate and network with other people. We're going to have to deal with the other side of the board. And for
Absolutely.
me, the win. If I'm representing my city, is to win at all times. And so winning is all right. I'm talking to you now to get this particular thing that I'm trying to get for my city, for my people. This is what we're trying to get. So right now, I have to give or take here and there, whatever the case may be. But my ultimate goal is this is part of our agenda and our plan of where we're trying to go, and so I'm trying to achieve that particular part of our agenda. And so I work with you over here on this. So
It
I
does.
work
You have to
with
partner with everybody. I mean, and I think when you think about say my city, mine, and you can kind of become a little isolate yourself. And when you think about that's okay, it's yours. What are you going to do? What do you have?
And that's the point. That's the thing
You know,
about other people have been already running the city and controlling the resources and things like that, the revenue streams, all the different revenue streams that we're not getting that could take down the balance. How do we go about asking, or do we ask for it? Do we do litigation? Something has to be done.
You bring value. You bring value to the table. Because if you're just simply there demanding something, you demanding what? What can you demand? I mean, who can who makes demands? Taxpayers, property owners, business owners. They have a voice. You are very vulnerable when you have no voice, no resources. So you have to bring value to the table. And you may not have anything of capital or of a tangible value, right? But a community that is healthy, a community that recognizes that this is a resort town. Let's begin to make ourselves very valuable in this economy.
And if the community, if people in the community doesn't see the benefit from the person that represent them, to stand behind them when they need them you know what I mean, for the issues that's going to benefit the people at the end of the day. The people are not going to come behind you if you're not really seen or as a viable person, because there's more people who don't vote than vote.
Right.
And complain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, that the people who get elected.
So I think there's to be a culture of just focusing in on, you talk about some of those towns, focusing in on having a real true pride in your community. It's a great, Atlantic City is a great community. It has a great history. Right? Just a rich history. Begin to build a sense of pride, right? Because the unity has to have something to gravitate around. The pride about our history, who we are, right? Begin to talk about how do we participate in this economy. That means that we have to begin to find where the opportunities are for us right now.
Right.
No, there's no point in demanding owning a casino. You ain't gonna let's just back away from that right now.
There's something down the road.
Right?
In the plan that we can build on.
Right. So right now, you build people, you build a sense of community, you identify for those job training programs, training for. That should include also the idea, the sense
job
that
placement,
job placement. The sense that in the city, I've gone to places as you have, I'm sure you visited places, and you feel that the people in the city, everywhere you go, you feel appreciated. They're excited to have you in their city. They're excited about it. They welcome you with that kind of thing. That kind of thing has to be infused in the culture of the city.
Well, we've let the culture spin out of control, and the children control us and control, really control what was going on. They control the culture right now, but we can, we can change that with,
So how do you change it? Because you can't depend on the change that come from people in whose interest it is to keep you confused.
And you can't depend on. We have to depend on us, really.
Right.
And it does have to. I mean, all of us. Some of us may disagree. I might disagree with some of the folks but I know that we have to really come together and say, you know what, leave my ego in the back, because right now let's see how we can, elevate us as men first and foremost, and then, and if we can elevate us as men and work together like we're supposed to be able to work together, then maybe, when we can start putting together things to elevate the community in a way that they see the positive and the positive energy. And I believe it works with the schools and the types of things that we show up to. Like, they've been having these basketball games on the west side, and all of these people have been coming out and showing up to these games like that type of essence, that type of, for Kentucky Avenue Renaissance. We need that type of essence again.
So if we can get the same kind of energy and enthusiasm around these meaningful things, the economy of the city.
Yes.
Right? Because when you get through with some of these programs that are very good, you feel good, but in terms of advancing your overall, financial and economic well-being and growth, if nothing happens there, that park can be shut down any time by the people who own it.
Right.
Right? I mean, the plan can change by the people who make the plans. You have to begin to do things that give you more ownership. And it is not about confronting or fighting necessarily the other group.
Maybe being a part of these boards. A lot of these boards around here, we're not represented properly, or the people that are on these particular boards think that they're get along, go along folk.
Yeah.
The usual suspect.
So who are the people that we should be talking about? We have a few minutes left, and I want to talk about. So it means of the faith community. It includes, of course, elected officials.
Yes.
It includes the schools. It includes community and civic groups.
Yes.
And all those other groups and the people who have feet on the ground, partnering with the executives of the casinos, the hotels,
And
the city.
all that can be done. All those particular things can be done. A lot of the stuff that we think that can't be done.
How, Kristen? How does it happen?
You have to have a desire. You have to have the desire of a person that's in those roles that has their ear that want to do those particular things.
Yeah, it's complicated. And when you say certain things, and I don't ever want, because I'm never attacking people who are doing things. I'd rather see you do something and do nothing.
Right.
And oftentimes people who are doing nothing have more to say than people who are doing something they feel unappreciated. Like, I'm working hard. I'm doing the best I can. You don't understand what I'm confronted with. Right. You don't understand the obstacles that you really don't have a clear understanding of what I'm dealing with. Mm-hmm. So therefore, you think I'm not working hard. You think I'm not doing good. You think I'm a traitor. You think whatever you may think. The reality is, I'm just dealing with it in the way that I can. They need the support of the community. The community has to be somehow have a different kind of thing going on that's not necessarily aligned with the system, but is beginning to form and create some synergy that can then partner with the city. But you control this part of it.
But that's why I ran for mayor. I felt like you said, there's a certain path and a certain energy, and it starts at the top. I believe that if you bring a certain energy and a certain openness and a certain willingness to do certain things and work with people and build relationships and have an agenda that's about building the community, have an agenda about, like you said, where are these jobs at? Those jobs are those contracts that the city dish out to all these people don't live around here, and building people within our own community to get those contracts and pay prevailing wages to the people within the community.
And the challenge is this. That can sound unfair, right? But the truth is, Hank, and not just Atlantic City, in many cities, in America for that matter, we don't have people who are qualified to do the jobs that need to be done in this economy today.
But what if
we have to build them?
What if we
Right.
do have people that are qualified, but the people that are getting the contracts, they're not hiring us?
Well, when I say qualified, I don't mean just hired for the jobs. I mean, so there's certain
Qualified to get the contract?
I mean, so when an industry moves into a town or into an area, the first thing to look at is the potential employment base, right? Mm-hmm. Where are we going to get our employees? Because they're not coming in to heal your city. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're coming in to do a business profitably, and it's your job to be prepared that when opportunity comes, to be prepared to take advantage of the opportunity. That has to happen. So that's where the job training and all that kind of thing. But
right.
But we're training for. It seems like we're training for the jobs that are here.
For
hospitality, those kinds of jobs.
Healthcare,
right?
Hospitality, healthcare. Those are the jobs that are in this area. That's what they're training for.
Right.
But we have to start building. We have to use NAFAC and those jobs that are coming out there that are planning to come out there.
Exactly.
But we have to have a pipeline to make sure that Atlantic City is getting those jobs. We have to have the pipelines for education for those Stockton jobs and positions.
So when you say make sure Atlantic City gets those jobs, I think even the language has to be a little bit different, right? Because let's face it, when you say Atlantic City, you say Pleasantville, what people hear is black, right? And that's what people hear.
That's what they hear.
Right. So then you get it can sound to folk who are not in Pleasantville, Atlantic City, that there's this division. How do we begin to become a part of a greater community, bring them into and begin to have understand that we all have that?
I think that you're right. You're right, Bishop.
Yeah.
Language does make a difference, and saying.
And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have an interest, because I have an interest in the black community.
Right. I don't necessarily have to say it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though,
because
in my mindset, that's what I'm
others
That's
have
what
an interest in their community.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, and that's nothing wrong with having everybody has their own specific or particular interest, but I think that sometimes until we can demonstrate the value that we bring to the table, it can sound as if you're just whining or you're demanding something. You may sound like you are entitled to something that you perhaps are not entitled to, and people just hear it differently.
Right.
So I think that you have to be a greater thinking about the way it is presented.
I went to a Liberty Prosperity with Seth Grossman. Seth Grossman and then that group over at,
Yes.
At Tilton. And one of the gentlemen was talking about, I don't want to have to be the one that's, why are we the people always pulling the cart with everybody in the back of the cart? I said, well, that's you're thinking that we want to be in the back of the cart and of all things having you pull us. We would, we'd rather do anything else besides have you pull us. We'd rather be pulling our own cart.
Right.
The problem that we have is equality to the opportunities.
Opportunities, yeah.
And so, he said, so he didn't get it until I said it in the manner that I said it. And he said, so just all you want is the same.
Of course. And that's the point. Everybody wants the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And when things get tight and the economy contracts as it is now, people are not as generous, not as liberal, because they're trying to keep as much as they can to protect their own interest.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're saying, I want what I want, and they're saying, now you're seen as a threat. You're seen as a competitor or whatever, and that doesn't go away. But how do we become a part of that whole discussion, partnering where people see you less as an adversary? And I know in America it's ingrained that we're going to be seen as an adversary.
I don't think so. I don't think that is necessarily like that. I think that they expect you to come and represent your community that you represent, but some folks go and represent themselves. They don't represent the community.
Yeah, okay, you got a point there. So anyway, this is a conversation that of course needs to be had and can go on and on. And it is going on all over the country for 400 years, right?
Right.
And in some places we've made great strides, great gains. And I don't want to suggest that people who are out there working, people who are in leadership, people who are elected officials, people who are doing the work, I don't want in any way suggest that their work is not valuable,
right?
That they are not valuable, but it doesn't mean that we cannot still continue to advance the conversation, talk about how do we even go to the next level.
And and let me say that even though I'm in disagreement on philosophy and principle of how we should approach a situation, I know that what these guys have a tough job and a hard responsibility of what they're doing, and all the different negative things that could happen to Atlantic cities fell upon their shoulders and things like that. And so it's not upon them. It's just a different philosophy and approach. Is all where I'm at.
And you have to be able to say it without everybody becoming super sensitive,
right? And that's all. We should be able to have a difference of opinion, and I should have a proper way of presenting it also. It doesn't have to be in a negative form.
That's
because
correct.
Again, I'm looking still forward to working with all of these individuals, all these young men,
right,
at any time who would never be a problem. Whenever the time may be,
right,
we should be working and trying to figure it out and sitting down and trying to do something constructive to continue whatever it may be. As long as they're in power to do whatever it is to do, let's try to figure out something. Let's get it done.
Absolutely. Well, I'm talking to Hank Green this morning, and I thank you, Brother Green, for coming in and having this discussion. That was this 10-minute discussion.
It's a good topic. I appreciate you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, man. Thanks. And I hope we can get you to come back next month and talk about some more of what's going on in Atlantic City.
No problem.
All right, and I want to, you can also invite others to be a part of the conversation. If you have any others who are, who are, elected officials or community leaders, whatever, who could be a part of the conversation. I think the conversation.
Well, any of those elected officials out there who would like to sit and conversate and talk, because that's all it is a conversation about building us as a community. As men, we should be able to talk at any time. I would gladly sit in the session and have a conversation with them, collectively.
And I don't know, I got to watch the landmines, because I don't know all the, I don't follow the politics too much, and I don't want to.
Yeah,
and the reason why I don't follow it
that's
intentionally, because I don't want to be careful. I want to say what is true. I want to be true. Just be true and speak the things that I know to be true, and let the chips fall where they may. But so I don't have any axes to grind.
Yeah.
I don't have any enemies, and that's the way that goes.
Objectivity is, it's good to be able to look at things from all different angles.
Sure.
I would like to think that I'm passionate about certain things, but I think I'm well enough capable to take in someone else's opinion or view, and listen to them. Even if I might disagree with you, but at least acknowledge your point of view and your side and things like that.
All right, thank you, Hank. Let me thank our sponsors real quickly this morning. I want to thank the Abundant Life Worship Center Church of Egg Harbor City.
Oh, I got an announcement too.
Okay, what's your announcement, Steve? Go ahead.
Oh, so Sunday at Abundant Life Worship Center, 32 Bishop John Gandy Avenue in Egg Harbor City, New Jersey. At 2:00, we're doing a community vacation Bible school and a cookout, and we'll have some backpacks to give away as supplies last, of course. So we want you to come out, anybody, everybody. If all of Atlantic City or Atlantic County comes out, we'll be like Jesus with the 5 fish and the loaves, and just pray over it and make it multiply.
And they'll keep coming.
Yeah, and they'll keep coming. And if Deacon Hawks comes and he brings some food with him and helps out to add to the cookout, we'll really have enough food
What
for
day
everybody.
is this?
This is on Sunday at 2:00. So Labor Day weekend. Come out with the family.
You're
Come out to
invited,
church
Brother
too.
Green.
Yeah,
You're
come out,
invited, man.
Be my guest. Be my guest.
Yeah, I've been out to Egg Harbor City.
Yeah, come on out and join us. I got to get you to come out to the church and visit us and introduce you to our church.
Oh yeah, that's great. I'll do that.
So again, I want to thank our sponsors: Abundant Life Worship Center Church, located at 32 Bishop John R. Gandy Avenue, WEHA Gospel 88.7 and 100.3 FM. If you want to reach WEHA for sponsorship or programs or donations or anything of that sort, you can go to the website at www.wehavegospel.com or call the station at 609-641-8870. Also, Beacon Hall. Beacon Hall is turning moments into memories, located at 243 St. Louis Avenue, Egg Harbor City. Phone number there is 609-965-4255. And the Freedom City Bike Club, specializing in bicycle sales and repairs at 29 West Avila Road in Pleasantville, New Jersey. Phone number there is 609-705-2519. And also Moody Twin 2. And Moody Twin 2 is, they do customized items, T-shirts, and much more. The phone number there is 609-442-1981. And Bake Geek. Yeah, we have a lot of sponsors.
That's awesome.
Bake Geek. Bake Geek is a taste of love. Janae Williams, reach her at 856-783-1795. And also Yvonne's Blessed Home Cooking. Phone number there is 973-908-3169. I want to thank all of our sponsors and thank, of course, our listeners and our viewers for being there with us, and we appreciate you so very, very much. Signing off on WEHA in Atlantic City. Appreciate you, and just continue to keep us in prayer. And thank you, Hank, for coming in, man.
No problem.
All
Thank
right,
you.
God bless. And Kristen, thank you. Steve, thank you. And to my grandson, Alexander Smith, number 2, thank you, Alex. All right. All right. God bless. And we'll, for radio, we thank you. We'll be back next week, same time. And those of you.
Gospel 88.7 WEHA. It's more than music. It's